Texas barbecue can be pretty expensive. Brisket can go anywhere from $35 to $40 a pound at some places. Even this tray of fast food barbecue was $36. But what if I told you you can make God-tier barbecue at home for a fraction of the cost, and all you need is a Costco membership? This is gonna be the ultimate Costco guide to Texas barbecue in your backyard. Let's go inside.
Nope.
Oh, we're not allowed to film anymore? All right, so we got kicked out of Costco as soon as we started filming, so we're in my kitchen. But first place I wanna start is pork ribs. So they have baby backs and they have St. Louis ribs. The good thing about these ribs is that they're $2.99 a pound. So each one of these packs comes with 3. So if you break that down by cost, right? Say we round up to $10 a rack. If you went to any barbecue spot that exists, even like a fast food spot, I think like it's gonna cost you probably about 20 bucks just for that one half rack of ribs, where here it's gonna be 5 bucks at home. Pork ribs are one of my favorite things in barbecue, but this is Texas, so let's talk about the beef. Costco has 2 options for briskets. They have American Wagyu, which can be pretty expensive. I think it's like $7 or $8 a pound. And then they have choice brisket, right, I got right here, that you can buy for $4 a pound. A brisket like this is gonna feed a ton of people. It's got a really good fat cap on it. This is a 12-pound brisket, and I paid $49 for it. If you go to a barbecue spot, you get a pound of brisket, I mean, it's $40 a pound. So either a pound for 40 bucks or 12 pounds. How much did I pay? Or 12 pounds for 50 bucks. The other thing that gets me really stoked on Costco is their beef ribs. So these are also choice beef ribs. I will say beef ribs are never cheap, but these are only $7.99 a pound. It did come to 68 bucks, but there's 2 full racks of beef ribs in here. So this is almost 9 pounds of beef rib. When you go to a barbecue spot, you're gonna buy beef ribs, they're gonna charge you by the pound, anywhere between $30 and $40, I would say. So you're definitely getting a better deal here. And beef ribs are really easy to cook. I'm gonna show you guys how to do it at the end. It takes way less time than a brisket, and in my opinion, the beef rib is the best part of barbecue. Even over the pork ribs, these are kind of my favorite, but if I can get a good beef rib, there really isn't anything like it. Not every Costco is always gonna have the beef ribs, so sometimes I go to my Costco and they have the beef back ribs, which are great, and those are really cheap. They're like $15. But when I see these things, I have to pick them up because they're awesome. Anyway, let's move on to pork butts. Okay, so Costco's got this deal, 2 pork butts, $2.49 a pound. So I got 2 7-pound pork butts in this one package, and I paid 35 bucks for it. Now here's the downside. Costco only sells boneless pork butts. I know, it's terrifying. But honestly, I've smoked one of these things before, and if you give it like good love and care, it comes out just as good as one with a bone. Maybe not as good, all right. It's pretty damn close. You're not gonna be able to tell. The average person that comes to your cookout, they're just gonna think you made some of the best pulled pork they've ever had. Honestly, the biggest thing is you gotta make sure they don't dry out, because where that bone comes out, there's obviously a slit there. So make sure you season it up good, make sure you're spritzing it. But for the price, you really can't beat that. I mean, if you go to your regular grocery store, you're gonna pay 15, 20 bucks for one pork butt with a bone in, maybe even more depending on where you go. These things are gonna feed a ton of people. So this is a really great buy at Costco as well. Okay, Costco doesn't have turkey. In most Texas barbecue spots, you're gonna find turkey breasts, but for some reason they just don't carry them. That's fine, but they do have chickens, another staple that you're gonna find on a lot of barbecue menus. And this is probably like one of the sickest deals that they have. So 2 chickens, let me move it around. 2 chickens for 15 bucks. Okay, I've smoked a ton of these things. They come out really, really good. They're super juicy, and I think price per pound on them is $1.49. $1.49 for anything nowadays is absolutely insane. It almost feels like a time warp. These things are great. Each chicken can probably feed like 3 or 4 people depending on how much meat you're gonna eat, and I think that's a really solid buy. Another huge cost saver is making your own rubs and making your own glazes at home. I picked up a bunch of stuff that are just like staples that I would always have to make rubs or to make sauces with. Let's start with the maple syrup, okay? There's 2 maple syrups that you can get at Costco. This is like the fancy, organic, whatever, you know, the real stuff if you're into that. I just picked it up because I thought the bottle was cool. They have a much cheaper version than this. I can't remember what it is per ounce, but you go into the grocery store and you want an organic maple syrup, like a tiny one like that, it's gonna be about 14 bucks. This is a really good way to have really good quality ingredients in your sauces and then not have to worry so much about the price. So honey is another one. This is a huge staple in pretty much every barbecue sauce that you're gonna have, especially if you're eating one that I made. This honey, for all of this is 5 pounds of honey, and it's $12.99. At a grocery store, 5 pounds of honey is gonna cost you an astronomical amount of money. And also, there's like multiple different types of honey. You can go cheaper. There's cheaper honeys than this, and there's a little bit more expensive honeys. This stuff works just fine for me. It tells you where it's from. It's from Argentina, so you know it's not some blend of sugars and whatever. But anyway, this is like a pretty good ingredient, really good staple, and it's a sweet deal. All right, so French's mustard. Mustard's used for a ton of stuff in barbecue. A lot of people use them as binders. A lot of people use them in their sauces. So it's good to always have mustard on hand. So all this mustard was $5.49. I just feel like, you know, if it's a staple, it's something that you're always gonna use. It's better to buy it in bulk. You're gonna save money long-term on it. So this is also a really good deal. Ketchup. Ketchup's also another thing. I mean, this is pretty much the base of like almost all sauces. So there's 2 of these large organic ketchups for 12 bucks, I wanna say it was. So it's somewhere around 10 to 12 bucks. I forgot how much it actually cost, but it's organic. It's a good deal. You don't have to use organic, but I was at the store after I went to Costco, and a size like this for just regular ketchup is around 6 or 7 bucks. So if you're into organic or you just don't want to have to go to another store to get ketchup, this is fine. It's good. It tastes good. So another spot that you can save money with Costco is making your own rubs. The spices are really cheap, especially the salt and pepper. This is 12.7 ounces of pepper for $4.99. I like to make my own rubs. So in Texas, we use salt and pepper for a lot of stuff. The salt also is around, I think it's $3.99. This is 30 ounces, so 1.14 pounds of, is that right? Yeah. 1.14 pounds of salt. So what I like to do is blend all my rubs so that I don't have to make them all the time and then keep them in containers. And one thing that's really cool that I'll do is I'll wait till these containers are empty and then I will just refill them with my rubs. So for instance, my rib rub #1. You know, I'm always testing and trying different things out. So I'll label them, I'll remember what they taste like, and I can reuse this bottle a couple of times. So now you're saving money on going out and getting stuff like this. You know, a small bottle of rub at a store, I think a 16-ounce bottle, for most places or most companies is gonna be about 10 bucks. This can make you, gosh, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 different rubs if you spread them out with, you know, other ingredients that you can get at Costco. So you're gonna be saving a ton of money. And plus, for me, if I'm gonna spend 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours making something, I want all of it to be me. I like other people's rubs, but I really like making my own sauces, my own rubs, so that the whole meal from start to finish is something that I created. One last awesome deal that you can find at Costco is this. All right. All of this apple cider vinegar was $8.99, and it's organic, unfiltered, raw, whatever fancy stuff it is. One of these bottles is like 6 or 7 bucks at the grocery store. So you're basically getting like 2 of these for free. And if you make barbecue, you're gonna be pretty familiar with apple cider vinegar. People spritz it on stuff, and you use it in glazes. There's a ton of use for apple cider vinegar. I've been told that it's good for you if you drink it. I think it tastes disgusting, but we basically just walked through the entire menu of what you would get at a barbecue spot. All this stuff came to about $300. Sounds like a lot of money, but if you're going out to do your own cookout, you don't have to buy this much. You could buy just these beef ribs and spend 26 bucks and feed a bunch of people. Or you could spend 50 bucks, do this brisket up, and you'd have enough food for, I don't know how much people eat, but it's a lot. Same thing with the pork butt. I would be hard pressed to see 2 or 3 people eat an entire 8-pound pork butt. That'd be pretty tight though if you could do that. These are all the great things that you can get at Costco, but how do they look when they're done? So I'm gonna smoke these beef ribs right now, and I'm gonna show you guys how I do it so you can get a look and see what the meat actually looks like when it's done. And I also just really wanna eat beef ribs, so that's what I'm doing. All right, here we go. These are our beef plate ribs. You can see this, they look pretty good. There's not a ton of hard fat on here, but I want to shape them up a little bit so that they smoke a little bit better. Start on the back, just get rid of all this crap that's on here. You don't need this. You do want to keep this membrane on though. The membrane's really important. You just want to get rid of some of these hard fat pieces. And then I just score the membrane a little bit just so we can get some seasoning in there. Now that I got this scored, everything's good. I'm gonna put the binder on. We're gonna use the mustard we got at Costco today because it's an incredible deal. Probably should have shaken it up. It's a little watery. So just squirt some mustard on, just kind of rub it all over the place. You're not gonna taste it. I'm sure y'all have seen enough barbecue videos of people saying, you're not gonna taste the mustard, don't worry about it. Well, I'm gonna say it again. You won't taste anything but salt, pepper, and delicious meat. That's all you're gonna taste, so. All right, time to salt and pepper. This is fine pepper and salt, 50-50 blend. But since we've got the 2 that aren't mixed and they're sitting right here, we might as well get after it. So I like to do a good amount of seasoning, especially on the top. You don't really have to worry too much on the bottom, but so I'm gonna go over this probably like 3 times. So we're gonna get some nice salt on there, and you can see the binder's helping it stick. The pepper is where we're gonna get that awesome bark. So the more pepper, the darker the bark. And for these things, we want them real charred, real crispy, real delicious. This seems probably like a lot of salt and pepper, but it's really not. Like, these things just absorb seasoning. It really depends what you like. Like I said, some people make it seem like barbecue is this big gatekeeping secret society. It's really not that big of a deal. That looks about good. Let's push the rub in. Don't rub it around, just pat it in. All right, and then you don't have to go too wild on the backside. There's really not much here besides like bone marrow, but we did make those slits, so you're gonna get some seasoning inside there. But I'd just do like one pass back here. Some people don't even do it. And again, I'm going to like more heavy on the pepper because that's what I like. You don't have to, you can do whatever you want. It's like Bob Ross, you know? There's no mistakes, there's just happy accidents. So we're gonna get the smoker started, get it up to 275, 300-ish. So we're gonna get the fire started. So the beef ribs are about 171 degrees right now internal. I'm just gonna heat up some beef tallow and then mop the top of it so we can get a really good fatty crust. I'm not gonna wrap these things and then put them back in the smoker. I'm gonna wrap them at the end. So I wanna make sure that nothing dries out and everything stays super, super moist. Okay, it looks like the bottom one's done. So I'm gonna take these off now and we're gonna get ready to wrap. I like to use a towel so that I don't mess up the bark, and I burned myself on the side of the smoker. It's great. Yeah, you can see how juicy these are. So we're just gonna wrap them in some butcher paper, and I'm gonna give them one more spritz of just the apple cider, just to keep them moist. Some people like to add more tallow here, but sometimes it can be a little like gamey and beefy tasting, like not in a good way. So I know this might like ruin the bark, whatever, but I don't think it will. I think it's gonna absorb it really quick. All right, now we're just gonna let these sit wrapped for about an hour, and then I think they should be good to go. Okay, I ended up double wrapping these because my first wrap was kind of not great. But let's take a look how they came out. Oh yeah, that's what we wanna see. You wanna see a lot of juice there. It means that hopefully we'll have a nice moist beef rib. Let's take these out. And I didn't add more tallow to them. Some people do. I don't like the extra tallow. Ooh. Oh yeah, that's what you want to see, that little flexibility there. If you were gonna get one of these somewhere that wasn't your house and wasn't from Costco, this would be pretty dang expensive. So let's cut into this and see how we did. Oh, I'm cutting the bone. Whoops. Well, that's pretty dang moist. That's definitely what you want to see right there. So all this from Costco, guys. Let's take a bite out of, I want one that's actually on the bone. I didn't realize if you look, the bones kind of like went sideways. It got so tender. So I'm gonna pull one off the actual bone and cut it correctly. But here we go. You can just see the juice coming out of these things. And honestly, these are a lot easier to do than brisket. This only took me like 8 hours, and they are dang good. This is worth sitting outside in 105-degree heat all day. This didn't take forever to do. It's really inexpensive. And you know, a rib like this, if you're going to a regular barbecue spot, honestly, this could be like 60 bucks. So for, I think it was, I can't remember how much it cost. It's been a super long day. It was around 60 bucks, I think. You can check back and make fun of me if I was wrong. I also have another rack that's on the smoker right now. So 2 racks of beef ribs, 60 bucks. Costco's the best. Make sure you subscribe.